Hey guys, Neil here. In this tutorial we're going to be covering the concepts of wash lighting and the various options that you have in order to create enough light for people to see what they're doing and where they're going at any of your events. Now I'll begin with some of the options here. The most basic option that people typically use is the dimmer pack with par lighting. Now I don't have the par lighting, but as you can see here, you've got the floods that are connected to the dimmer pack over here. Now of course this is a four channel dimmer pack. Each one of those has a channel, so as you can see, my lights here are attached to channel 1 and 2. Theoretically you could get 2 more in there, and it allows for them to chase and so forth. I've got it hooked up through DMX to be able to control most of the colors there. Another option that you have is the stage wash. These are designed to create a lot of light in order to cast a stage or an area of a stage in very bright light. It will also have chases and so forth in standalone. Now this of course is more for a stronger, more powerful light, but less distributed light. You can see the barn doors on the front. Another option that you have, of course, is the LED lighting over here. LED has some great advantages. It doesn't use much power, as well as the fact that it doesn't create heat, which is great for the performer or whoever's in front of it if you're going to use wash lighting for that. When trying to decide whether to go incandescent par lighting or the new LED lighting, one of the most striking things to think about is the idea that in par lighting you only really ever have one of the colors at a time running. That means if you notice these are red and blue, if I want red, only one of those lights are going to be on at a time. That means that when you have 8 lights or so set up, you're really only using 1 or 2 at a time for each color. With the new LED technology, each fixture has all of the colors in it, so it allows you to create much more unique, much less required lighting fixtures for the same amount of intensity. So I may have only 2 LEDs running at a time, but because both of them are creating the same color, it actually creates a brighter intensity only using 2 than having 4 pars. It also allows you to do things like strobe, which was normally unheard of with the conventional pars, but with LEDs they have a great strobing ability. Or you could mix it up and have just one going instead of both going at the same color to create a completely different kind of sets of patterns that are really dynamic. So LED is definitely much more flexible, and because of that, because you're using less fixtures, it actually doesn't cost that much more than the original incandescent par lighting that was available. Another option that is rarely talked about is the idea of black light or UV light providing wash. It's typically almost never considered a wash in the DJ world, but from my experience I've found that it can be a viable option, although it is very time consuming. You see, it will actually create a lot of color that actually comes out when you're using it, but only when you have surfaces that are reflective. This can be useful because if you create enough reflective surfaces, it will actually create enough lighting that's reflected for people to see each other. However, you can imagine how much work it would be to create all of that reflective surface for it to work as a wash. So it's usually not used, and I wouldn't suggest it replacing wash altogether because of that. Pin sparts aren't wash, but I've installed it so that we could see the idea of beam angle, which is also important when considering wash. If you look up here, this is its pattern hitting the wall. Of course, it's a spotlight, which means that all of the light is focused on a short, narrow beam, which is considered beam angle. It's probably only a few degrees. Now, this is a 50-watt bulb, but it appears very bright within the small little area that it's producing. When you compare it to something like a 100-watt floodlight, the floodlight doesn't look nearly as bright because it's spread over a much larger area. This is really important to consider when you're looking at wash lights. You can't just look at the brightness, because you also have to look at the beam angle that it's coming out. A wash light that has a wide beam angle probably won't be as bright as a wash light that has a narrow beam angle.